Well, and I think it's so important what you're saying, Jackie. When we think trauma, we can very easily, instantly go to childhood sex abuse, really profound experiences, but a lot of very small experiences can, or what we might consider to be small, can have a really profound impact. And I really like, already we're thinking about gender here, because often this is a label that can be applied, so, and you talk about this in the book, I guess. The diagnosis can find its way to much more women than men, but actually the statistics wouldn't hold that up, or, I mean...
Yeah, correct. There was someone in the chat who just had a good point that I think her name's Kathy, and she mentioned developmental trauma. And just really quickly, because it kind of piggybacks what Jackie was saying, yes, developmental stress and or trauma are the things that the ACE studies in particular looked at, but it could be any trauma. And the kind of trauma Jackie was just talking about falls under the developmental kind of umbrella. And that's something that we talk a lot about in the book, that it's not just objectively present trauma, although it includes that, but patterns of relationships, communication patterns, power dynamics, and a lot of the research from Gregory Bateson, which is picked up by Artie Lang, that look at kind of family developmental situations where it's not just objectively present. That part may even be absent, but there are confused and confusing dynamics in communications, expectations, double binds. So the double bind theory with that. But concerning gender, yeah, the research, which we also look at in there, says that basically just as many men meet criteria for borderline as do women, but based upon thousands of years of history of the way the dominant heterosexual mind has viewed women, that's really where this label comes from. It has a very clear trajectory and very rooted history to it. When I first started talking about this as a book idea, I had not at all a clue that I would be writing about the history of it so much, but the more I delved into it, you can follow, and it doesn't stop. You can follow this trajectory back from borderline, go back 100 years, go back to the Middle Ages, go back to antiquity, back to the creation myths from Greek culture. And Greek culture, of course, informs everything of our culture in the West. All the way up to borderline. It's a very clear narrative and story about it. And from that history, even today, the DSM-5 considers more women by a long shot, it says so, than men meet criteria for this label, which is not true. It's something that's considered to this day a feminine psychiatric disorder.